Welcome for the next topic, that is understanding the demand and capacity. So always we know there is a demand, there is a supply, and there is a capacity. But when it comes to product side, so demand and capacity can be managed, because how much the demand that can be produced, and even though if that has been not sold, that can be inventory, that can be stored when it comes to the products or goods, we can say. But when it is coming to the services, it's a very problematic thing, because we all know services are simultaneously produced and simultaneously consumed, and we cannot invent it. Okay, so inventory can't be done with the services. So it's very important to managing the demand and capacity with related to the services. So here, no buffer for service from the demand. Okay, demand volatile, obviously, always changes. Goal, here we go for supply and demand balance at optimum capacity, what service we are providing, and then underutilizing when demand is below optimum capacity. If demand is above capacity, then quality may suffer. So these things happen when we are managing demand and the capacity. For example, there is a huge one is the maximization, one is the optimum. So when it is coming to the optimum level, so here every customer is served nicely for the every customer. And when it is coming to the you can say more giving demand rather than optimum, if you're giving more focusing on the full utilization, then comes the quality of the services suffers. The reason the service is all depends on the performance, that is 3P: process, people, and physical evidence. So here there is a problem will be faced. Now, coming to the challenges of matching supply and demand in capacity, the first one important is services are direct. So already we have discussed that service cannot be invented, and they are very perishable in nature. So this is the most problematic thing faced when meeting the supply and demand. Then second one, there is a high degree of producer-consumer interaction in the production of services, which is mixed blessing on the one hand, and consumers are source of productive capacity, but on the other, the consumer's role creates uncertainty for managers about the process, time, the product's quality, and the facilities accommodation of the consumer's needs. So this thing happened, that is again one of the challenging thing, because here both are interacting while taking a services. Third, because the service cannot be transported, the consumer must be brought to the service delivery system or the system to the consumer. So this is another challenge which is faced in the matching the demand and supply capacity. Now, fourth one, because of the intangible nature of service output, establishing and measuring capacity level for a service operations are often highly subjective and qualitative tasks. So these are the major, you can say, challenges are faced when we are matching the supply demand in capacity. Now, the most common type of constraint facing service business are, four types actually which are faced, and those are time, labor, equipment, and facility. The first, time. So here it's a business a way to put asset to work over time. Physical assets typically depreciate with the time, and cash tends to go down in a value due to inflation. We know this. So time becomes fundamental constraint, and techniques to use time more efficiently, such as time management or common management consideration, particularly in service industry. For example, if you're having a lodge, or we can say the hotel, the rooms are not rented, means the empty, we have lost it. Okay, so that is again time perspective. Next, coming to the labor, we know people plays an important role in the services. So here labor, the human resource, is one of the most important resource of any organization. It is essential to have the right number of people with the appropriate skills to enable the business to achieve its business objective. Because always labor matters a lot. And why? People is when an encounter of a service happen, people plays an important role. If they are skilled and well, then that can be managed well, or else it create a problem. And then comes the equipments. Any owned physical asset that is intangible contribute to the future cash flow of your business. If you look at example, asset related consent is a slow piece of equipment on a production line. Okay, any asset including property, plant equipment, intellectual property, or brands can represent a constraint sometime. So if they are unutilized, then again that will become a constraint. Now coming to the facilities, resource or facilities refer to anything that needs to conduct business. Okay. For example, if you say a farmer may require access to water for irrigation and a bank may require access to programmers to maintain their systems. So access to sufficient resource and facilities is a business constraint. So that has to be managed very nicely. So these are the main four things which are the common type of constraint faced by the businesses: the time, the labor, the equipment, and the facilities. And especially in services, these are the big headaches. Now coming to the optimum versus maximum use of capacity. We have discussed that the biggest challenge faced in service industry is perishability. Okay, so perishability is a significant issue for services then and can best be summed up as follows. So if demand for exceed capacity, it cannot be met and is manufactured by taking goods from a warehouse because services are simultaneously produced and simultaneously delivered. If capacity far exceeds demand, the potential revenue from the service is lost. That we all know. So, okay. So where service capacity is largely fixed and demand is subject to variation, so organization can experience any of the following situations. The first comes is excess demand. Here what happens is the level of demand exceeds maximum available capacity. And second is demand exceeds optimum capacity. The services is less than adequate. And then demand and capacity are well balanced. This is the level of optimum utilization of the capacity of the organization. And excess capacity, demand is below optimum capacity. So these are the four situations which are actually, you can say, experienced by the organizations. And if you look at the utilization of the capacity as an example of in any restaurant, maximum utilization and optimum utilization. So when it comes to maximum, there will be a problem, no doubt, but the problem with service will not delivered in quality manner. But when it comes to optimum capacity, so everything will be fine. So if you look at an example, the percentage seat occupied during a particular time period, you can say example an hour a day. So if it is 100 capacity is there, if it is just filling 0 to 40, then it is underutilizing the thing. So likely effect on the things will happen like erosion of profit, cost incurred in relation to revenue received, lack of atmosphere happens, staff become bored and demoralized because there are no more footfall of the customers. Service ranges from poor to excellent. Alternatively, customers being few in number may receive excellent services. There are good side also and there are bad side also. But coming to looking at the good side up for the customer, they will get good services. But when it comes to the organization side, it is a bad side. Now coming to the 70-90, that is optimum capacity. So here what happens is, so profitable for restaurant, then staff busy but not overstretched, good atmosphere and quality of services, customer enjoyment will happen. But when it goes to maximum capacity, that is full, so staff stretched into the limit, customers become rude, angry, and irritable because service are not providing properly because of huge crowd. Mistakes or errors occurs because the demand becomes very high. Then the suppliers and the problem with the cook happens. Then tense and stressful atmosphere overall because huge crowd, quality of service deteriorates. So this is like optimum capacity and maximum capacity.